Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews, my co-host. Tate, spring sports, flag football, the standings are starting to shape up a little bit. So here in the spring season.
A little clearer picture than a couple weeks ago?
It's getting a little clearer, and it's going to continue to get clearer. I know, flag football early predictions from yourself. And maybe I did a little bit too, but maybe it's because of the hype that was there. But the Brentwood prediction in terms of being in the top four is not looking so good right now.
That one was on me.
But you had your reasons to think that.
Well, yeah, and hey.
I feel like you had some misinformation.
And then also, but they're finding out what it's like, just like in real football. Injuries.
No, wait a second. Tackle football.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. Yes, 11 on 11. Fall football. How about that? Yeah. No disrespect.
I understand.
It's different. But same kind of things apply. You have some injuries here. You're missing a key player.
That's right.
And then I think they have been hit a little bit with. They've been hit with injuries. They've also been hit with. They found out what it's like when somebody has to be out of town for travel soccer or volleyball or whatever. And I'm a little bit mad after something you told me earlier. I gave some advice. I am a three-time flag football championship coach. Aaron Bryant, former Brentwood Bruin great, was my defensive coordinator. He's a minister in real life. He called the defense. We called him the minister of defense. And I gave a little advice to the head coach offensively, and he kind of swatted it away.
And we're finding out that advice was solid, right?
Very solid.
Running the ball.
Yes, but also a part of the way you run the ball. But anyways, yeah, hey, injuries, you better have next man up, next lady up. We're finding that out.
Well, it's going to be interesting to me because some of these teams are so close that it's going to be about who shows up for the tournament.
I've heard that from more than one head coach.
Which is on May 7th. But I'll tell you this, though. I think some of these young ladies who are involved in some of these travel, they're going to pick flag football that day.
Because?
It's at Nissan Stadium.
Yes, that's what I think, too.
And wait till you see the trophy.
I can't wait, man. Are you going to give it out?
Probably not, but I can if I need to.
Hey, and what a great day on Sunday for flag football. I mean, the weather was a stinker the whole week. Few days, the whole week before, and then Sunday was just absolute. Well, it's sleeting and snowing on Friday, and then it was, it looked like it was June on Sunday.
Beautiful. Been 3 for 3 on the weather.
Yes.
But I'm that first Saturday in May, I'm getting nervous about if the weather's not great that day, but we'll just have to tough it out.
Hey, part of it.
Part of it.
Adapt and overcome.
Adapt and overcome. Hey, Tate, we're going to finish the show with flag football, but let's start off as we've done the past few weeks talking about track. This past week was the Wilco Championships at Nowensville. All of our teams and schools participated. We had a couple other schools participate as well. And Tate, before we get into the results, this week's gym is pretty solid. 7 of the 9 schools from WCS had an individual event winner.
I think that's fantastic.
You brought that up a couple weeks ago, and I did a little research, 7 of 9, which I know you like that. When you look at the totals for boys and girls, Brentwood had 10 winners, and that counts the relays. Nowensville 9, Ravenwood 4. So each school was very well represented in that particular race. And, we were talking about this, or that particular meet. We were talking about this before. You think Brentwood's boys maybe sent a message to the hosts of this show.
Yes.
And the rest of Wilco.
They said, not so fast, my friend. We will gladly let you all think that you're closing the gap, and then we'll come out in the Wilco Championships and we will show you just how far that gap is.
Listen, we're not into Wilco and Wilco crime, but certainly that happened.
That was a statement.
On the boys' side, they finished 56 points ahead of second place Nowensville. Yeah. On the girls' side, 38 points. ahead of second place Franklin. Hey, and you had Coach on your show this past weekend talking about the meet, and it was good stuff.
Oh, it was great. Hey, had Coach Manderfield on from Nolensville, and what we were talking about on the show the other day is, just the growth of that program in a really short period of time, and it was pretty neat. We talked about, and he acknowledged that Brentwood is, on both the boys and the girls, they're the measuring stick.
They are.
No shame in saying that. It is what it is, and to see them, really close that gap. But what was neat was, I thought he had a great quote. He said, as they're building that program, and I don't think we've talked about it, but I think on the outside looking in, you don't always think about that in track and field. But he said, yeah, they've always got the standout superstar performers, but really what gets them, because as we talked about last week, Nolensville is winning individual championships. He called it death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
What you don't always see is maybe the event they didn't win, they got third, fourth, and fifth. They just have so many runners and so much depth. They're pointing multiple points in every event, and then they go out and, as we'll talk about on the girls' side, they win 2 relays. On the boys' side, I'm sure they won. How many they won?
They won 3.
They win 3 on that one. So you know what I'm saying? I think sometimes you lose sight of the overall depth that they have. Well, kind of like in wrestling, there's only one way you can build that in track and field, and that's numbers. But still, what Nolensville is doing on the track and field side is unbelievable, both boys and girls.
Well, I feel pretty good about this, Tate, because this is what we've been saying.
Yes.
We've been saying it's that depth. He termed it something a little death by 1,000.
Is that not family friendly?
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's definitely good for our serious radio show that'll
no doubt about
be
it.
taking place here.
And like we've talked about, Coach Sig, he would always say it. It's called track and field.
That's right.
For a reason. Those field events, first place, second place, third place, those points count just as much as a running event.
That's right. Well, speaking of the girls' results, Tate, we had 11 schools in it. Take a look at our 9 schools. We had Summit 10th, Fairview 9, Page 8, Centennial 6, Indy 5, Nolensville 4th, Ravenwood 3, Franklin 2, Brentwood 1. On the boys' side, 10 total teams. Centennial 10, Fairview 9, Summit 8, Indy 7, Page 6, and the top 4, Ravenwood, Franklin, Nolensville, Brentwood. Is it safe to say that when you're talking track and field, well, I know it is if you take a look here, top 4 on both sides, Ravenwood, Nolensville, Brentwood, Franklin. A little different order. But like you said, there's Brentwood.
Right.
And then probably the next tier of those other 3 schools. And then everyone else, it's an individual event here or there that they dominate.
I think the boys, I think Nolensville boys have separated themselves. I think they are clearly the number 2. Now, it's pretty close. And then if you look back on the girls' side, great performance by Franklin to get that second. Ravenwood, Nolensville, the issue they have there is, because you're thinking, man, Nolensville won all those. Well, as long as Miss Grimes shows up, Ravenwood's getting 2 first places in every meet that she's in.
Shot put and discus, she definitely came through again. Yeah. Tate, as you look on the girls and boys side, some of those individual results, what are some names that stand out? Now, Kaylin Thomas, because she's getting it done. Track, wrestling, she's already gotten it done. Flag football, she's getting it done.
She's got to be the leading rusher in flag football, right? If we had fantasy points.
You want Kaylin Thomas on the squad. Hey,
sure.
But kudos to the folks at Ravenwood. She's running track. She's playing flag. It's not getting in the way.
Right.
Smart.
And as you said, that's the way it was intended. But no, I thought this was pretty cool. Kaylin Thomas of the 100. Usually the 100 and the 200 go together. Nyla Mackey of Independence gets the 200. So what does that mean? Oh, Kaylin probably didn't run the 200. She did. It's just Nyla won it. So that's pretty cool. That's how close those two are. And then, when you talk about Claire Stegall, what she's doing with Nolensville.
She's winning by so many.
She's winning by so many seconds. The 800 and the 1600. She didn't win the 3200. And no shame there. She didn't run it. Because what jumped out to me was what happened there. She didn't run. She's got the fastest mark in the state so far in the 3200. So
it's incredible.
It really is incredible. But then kudos to Lydia Cromwell. She won that from Brentwood. And then the 100 hurdles, the high jump with Elise Dobson. This is what jumped out to me the most, okay? They entered her in the shot put. Now, you've seen her. She's probably the favorite for the pentathlon going into the state track meet. If not, she's one of the top two. But she does not look like a shot putter.
No.
They entered her in the shot put. She got third. And first place was Reagan. So that really jumped out to me. And then, hey, I thought this was pretty cool. 4x1 and 2 go to Brentwood. 4x4 goes to Nolensville. 4x8 to Centennial. Parity.
We love parity.
Love it.
So here's a question I had for you. I've been meaning to ask this, and if this makes the show, that means we didn't stop and cut it out because nobody knew the answer. But on the girls' side,
So what, you're going to cut the answer out but not the question?
so on the girls' side, it's the 100 and 300 hurdles.
Yeah.
But on the boys, it's 110
Yes.
and 300. Does that go back to like the Greek gods of the first Olympics, or why is it?
That could have been my guess
That
is,
should be a gym.
or a clown show. My guess is, you've been there, they run the women's, and then on the 100, and then the 110, they move those hurdles just a little bit. My guess is the boys they just need a little bit more room in between.
On the shorter distance.
Yes.
But the 300, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
Okay, I can buy that. Is that just a guess?
An educated guess.
Yeah, it's good. But every time I see that, I'm like,
It's like Dougie Fresh. For those that don't know who Dougie Fresh is, my father. He loves to tell the grandkids that he is still the whatever conference in Oklahoma 400-yard dash champion. That record's lasted all those years. What he fails to tell them is about 1972, they quit running the 400 in yards. Now, why they did that, I don't know.
hey, that's smart on his part.
Good for him.
Record that'll never be broken.
Great recruiter, great salesman.
What about those boys' individual results? Some names that we keep seeing, but again, lots of parity in terms of the results.
Well, kind of same deal. Brody Chapman wins the 1,600. Miles Raymer, we know that name well from the fall. He won the 3,200. Brody has the fastest, just like Claire Stegall, he has the fastest 3,200 meter time in the state. On the boys' side, Sterling Weldon gets the long jump, and Lance Powell gets the triple jump. So on the long jump and the triple jump, Nolensville gets both of those. Aiden Carter from Brentwood on the high jump. So, those were the ones that jumped out to me. Relays on the boys' side, thanks for playing. Brentwood took the 4x2, 4x4, and 4x8. Yeah. And then Morgan Lewis, 110 and 300 hurdles. So, there you go. There you go. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 champions, first places for Nolensville, yet Brentwood beat them by 16 points. There's your depth.
It's unbelievable. And you and I.
And the relays.
We love track at the state meet, and we'll be there watching that. Probably have some people trying to shoo us off, saying, what are you guys doing down here? And
the photographer lady, she was kind.
I don't really blame her, though. But anyway, we'll be there. But the thing that happens, because it doesn't always happen in these meets, particularly for Brentwood. When it's go time at the state meet, I can assure you there'll be no sitting out the.
No.
Oh, he's sitting out the. She's sitting out the. Not in the state meet, they won't be. Which to me makes Brentwood go up another level.
Well, without a doubt. And again, they're building depth. You got those people got to compete, right? So. Yeah, but still, the Wilco Championships is kind of goes. It's almost the same meet. There are some different ones, but the Wilco Championships has become a measuring stick, just like the Scott Hartman Relays is a measuring stick. Do well there, I got a pretty good chance to do well at the state meet.
I love it that we have such great meets within our own county, and as Franklin continues to do some upgrades track-wise, you'll end up seeing them have a big meet too.
Oh yeah, and their program's growing too.
No doubt.
And I talked about that with Coach Manderfield. There's 2 kinds of events: swimming meets and track meets. Talk about he was thanking all the volunteers. They hosted the Wilco Championships, and I don't know if he said that, but he was talking about just all the volunteers and the coaches and the people that put into it. And, those track meets and swim meets, those are two events that if ran well, it really goes unnoticed. You don't think much about it. But man, when those two things go bad, you surely notice. And so, that's the other thing that I think, and I think Coach Sig probably started that here, but you hear that around the mid-state. People like to come to meets in Wilco because they're run well.
Well, and then we have the middle school state meet will be at Franklin this year.
Nice.
So they don't shot put or not shot put, but
pole vault.
Pole vault, yeah. They don't pole vault, so they can do it there. Whereas these other meets, they don't really have a place to do it. To do that, that kind of knocks Franklin out of doing some of those meets. But that'll change.
Correct.
That'll change. Hey, let's talk a little baseball. A couple of teams that I think are not necessarily the surprise teams, but Franklin Centennial. That's two teams getting it done. They had a big series. Franklin takes 2 out of 3. Game 3 was an 8-6 win for Franklin. Jackson Knotts, the junior, the winning pitcher. Caleb Anderson, the Xavier commitment with the save. Gavin Johnson led Centennial with a couple of hits. But what Coach Whitby's doing there with Franklin, they got A.J. Russell, great pitcher. He's going to go pitch for Tennessee. Look out for the Admirals in the postseason.
Yeah, and everybody thought Centennial had kind of separated themselves a little bit as the top. And Franklin says, not so fast, my friend. They get the first win, and then you're right. Now here they are. They take a 2-3 series over Centennial. Really, really playing well. You saw flashes of it last year, and I remember Coach Whitby talking about it. The season ended last year kind of prematurely in their eyes, but he said, this team's coming. We're getting better. We're talented, and they're in a tough out right now. So I don't know, man. That's hard to figure out, but I'd say probably Franklin playing. If you ask, I texted a bunch of them the other day and I said, who's playing the best baseball right now? And they said Franklin or Summit.
Yeah. And then Nolo has played well too. Brentwood gets a big win over them, which we'll talk about in a second. Summit, a WCS game, not a league game, but a 10-8 win over Page. Summit scored 6 runs in the last 2 innings, 11 hits on the day. Devin Thrain, 3 hits, including a 3-run home run. Lauren Steele, 3 for 4, 2 RBI, or ours BI for Page.
Did we ever get?
I just like.
Is that kind of like Battle of the Woods?
I think we just keep doing that.
I like it.
Brentwood, Nolensville. Brentwood. You can't talk about Brentwood without Aaron Walton's name coming up.
Guy does everything.
7-2 win for Brentwood at Nolensville. 2-run home run from Aaron Walton. Connor Bartley, 3 for 4. And really, as much as any sport, baseball, I feel like the tournament is so unpredictable.
It definitely is. Well, think about this. I don't think they're going to be a really tough out, because here's the deal. I don't feel like Nolensville is as deep as they've been the past few years, okay? But if McIlvain, but they're still good.
Right.
If McIlvain's on the mound,
yeah,
I mean, all bets are off. They can beat anybody. So, yeah, I mean, who's he throwing against in the tournament?
I'd like to see a McIlvain versus A.J. Russell.
That's where I thought you were going, yeah.
Matchup. That'd be fun.
They've messed me up so bad, I can't remember. How does that match up?
That'd be region.
Region, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that'd be great.
Yeah. It really would be. Hey, and
you think Cane Ridge was glad to come back and get a little Wilco?
Well, just a reminder why Cane Ridge and the Nashville schools aren't wanting to be in our league. 16-1, Raven over Cane Ridge. And I love the folks at Cane Ridge, but they're never beating one of our teams like ever.
Not in baseball.
Not in baseball. Basketball, hey, they had a dude.
Yeah.
But
hey,
baseball not happening.
Getting off a little bit. Has he said where he's going?
Alabama.
Huh.
But we'll see. We may.
How far am I allowed to go on this show?
Not that far.
I'm just going to pose a question. Don't answer. That guy can go anywhere in the country. Am I correct?
Accurate.
Okay. Not Kansas or Duke or North Carolina or Kentucky, Villanova.
I think there might be a family tie to them.
UCLA.
let's transition to softball.
I might have gone too far.
No, it's cool. The Raptor Classic, and once again, like you talked about for Brentwood's tournament, Ravenwood plays host.
Yep.
As a fundraiser, so they've got players, they've got coaching staff, they've got parents, running that thing. Again, it went really well. Franklin, Nolensville, Independence, Brentwood all played in it. Hoover, Alabama defeated Forest in the championship in terms of Wilco teams. Nolensville's a semifinalist.
Yep.
They're 5-1 in the tournament. Ryland Smith, the K-Watch, she has 3 wins during that tournament, 26 strikeouts in 13 innings. For those of you that maybe aren't so great at math, that's 2 an inning.
Hey,
And a lot are 3 up, 3 down.
I told Justin Lamb this. This is no joke. There is a softball shortage. Wilson Sporting Goods is out of softballs. Okay? They're out of softballs. And I think it's because of Ryland Smith.
Because they're piling them up.
Yeah, she's piling up the strikeouts, and they need so many. I think she is the cause of the softball shortage for Wilson. And this is not a Wilco thing, but Coach Wild will like this. I do think this is pretty cool. Hoover, Alabama defeated Forest in the state championship. The enrollment difference between those schools is about 3,000. Forest, when you're talking softball now,
They're pretty good.
They can bring it.
Pretty good. Nolensville, they were eliminated by Hoover.
Yeah,
I feel like Nolensville might have beat Forest.
I do too.
It'd have been close, but
Hoover's got literally over 3,000 students.
it's incredible. 2 days. Nolensville Summit, I feel like there's a little separation in softball with those 2 squads right now.
So too. And isn't that funny how quickly that changed? I mean,
Yeah, it did.
Summit's been doing it for a couple of years, but
Nolensville's right in. I'm telling you, man, Nolensville, that's
you've been saying
I'm
it for
on
a
the
long time.
I'm on the Nolo Fairview Wrestling bandwagon.
They're getting it done.
They are getting it done. Here's the score, and I don't have stats for this one, but this is the kind of softball game you and I'd be playing
Yes.
in. Fairview 17, Harpeth 13.
How long did that game take?
I don't know.
There had to have been a bunch of homers.
That's like visions of the old slow pitch days.
Yes,
Kings of the Court. You remember those guys?
of course.
Now that was fast pitch.
Yeah.
That's fast pitch,
Yeah.
right?
Well, no, I don't know.
I think the king in his court's fast pitch.
Yeah,
I think.
the point was made.
The point was made. That's a lot of runs.
Yeah, that's like
Coach Jones, great job offensively. Work on that pitching a little bit.
well, but maybe it's kind of like maybe it's like these up-tempo offenses, kind of like Ole Miss football. He knows this is the only way we can win.
Yeah.
We're going to have to win 55-49. He's okay with it.
Hey, as long as they get the done. And that's a pretty good little rivalry.
Oh yeah.
Fairview, Harpeth.
Yeah, those 2 communities, I don't want to go so far as to say they don't like each other, but they don't like each other. Fair?
That's accurate.
Yeah.
That's definitely accurate. Let's talk a little soccer. Franklin with a 4-1 win over Centennial. I was talking to Coach Burgoyne the other day, and he was talking about how close the soccer really is in the county right now. I think Brentwood's, a little bit ahead, but again, you know how that game goes.
Especially come tournament time.
It does. The way that game goes, you never know how that's going to turn out. But they get a 4-1 win, Franklin over Centennial in the Battle of Franklin. Soccer version. Goals by Landon Robbins, Nathan Finn, Finn Jacobs, Owen Saltmarsh. Centennial had a goal from Shannon Jameson. I did want to give a shout out to our man, because I know we're both big fans of Davis Long. Davis can do anything.
Yes.
And he had a header on a corner kick, corner throw in. I can't remember what it was, but had a nice little header for an assist on the goal by Nathan Lynn. And he didn't play last year. And Burgoyne was talking about him like, man, he didn't play last year, and he's like one of our guys. He can do anything.
Oh, yeah.
He's played a little football, great basketball player, and then obviously doing a pretty good job there in soccer as well. I know your family's had a chance to be around him, and you guys love Davis.
Oh, he's the kind of kid you want on your team. And I love that. That's a great. You don't see, we talk about multi-sport all the time. You don't see a basketball soccer guy much.
Although it makes sense
Yes,
because of the movement.
correct.
It really does. And I think, too, here you've got club soccer and all, and Davis, he didn't do that last year, I know.
Right.
And he just stepped right on in, and he's in the lineup
Yeah.
because he can play.
And he's also playing a little basketball right now too on the side. So yeah. Well, yeah, that's right.
You know, Coach Burgoyne does a great job of this. This is something he and I talked about when I was at Franklin. And he said, you know, our kids, he's talking about this with the scheduling, they play so much travel, I don't overschedule. I don't get the max number of games because they're playing anyway. What I do try to do is play the best teams we can play outside the district as well. Smart.
Oh, very smart. Yeah. More than any sport, you got to save their legs if they're playing that much on. You know,
And they are.
Oh yeah.
Whether you want them to, they are. TSSAA came up with the rule, it's okay to play during the season for a reason.
Correct.
Because soccer was taking over, the travel soccer.
You're not going to win that fight.
Ever.
No.
So I get it. I definitely get it. All right, let's talk a little. I did want to mention Fairview, 2-1 loss to a good Spring Hill team. That was home opener for Fairview in that particular one. Girls flag football. Let's go through the results this past weekend at Centennial. Watch out for Centennial. They've won 3 of their last 4. Wins over Independence and 41-12 over Nolensville. Nolensville gets a 25-20 win over Indy, so every team's won at least one game, which congratulations to Coach Curran and his squad. At Page, which was the place to be, because you had an undefeated team and you had 2 teams with only 1 loss. Fairview beats Page 26-7. Again, Page without their first 2 quarterbacks, really. They were both out of town, which happens, especially in this pilot program. Game 2 was the game. Ravenwood, Fairview, 26-19, Ravenwood with the win, then Ravenwood with a 34-13 win over Page. But let's go back and talk about that Ravenwood game. So Fairview's looking like it's Fairview-Franklin going to finish 1-2. And that matchup in week 4 is what it'll end up being. Is going to decide the league. It's 13-0. It's late in the first half, so Fairview, it's over if they score. Big interception by
Allie Brown,
who, along with Emma Nyhill from Franklin, they may be the defensive players of the year here so far.
definitely in the secondary.
They get a stop there inside the 5 at least, and then what do? They give it to Kaylin Thomas. She runs one back like she's done in about every game. All of a sudden, it's 13-7 at the half. Game changed.
Game change. Huge play. Turnovers, baby.
Turnovers.
Game changers. They're on the 1-yard line.
It's tough, man.
Allie Brown gets her second. Well, she had 2 interceptions on the day, but none bigger than that. Safe to say that was the play of the game?
Play of the game, probably play of the week, because it made such a difference in not only that game, but the standings. And I'll tell you what's happened. Hats off to Coach Hughes. He's ahead of the rest of the coaches because he's played the game.
Yeah.
But they're catching up. These people are good coaches.
They're learning.
They know how to do it. They know how to watch and go, hey, that's working for him. We're going to try this. That margin is getting closer and closer. He's going to still be ahead because he's got such experience. But I'm telling you.
Yeah, that might be one of those things of, hey, don't, and maybe he hasn't. I don't know. Don't show the full playbook yet because we've got that tournament.
That's
guys are taking notes. They're paying attention. These are guys that are used to, lessons after games. But, hey, I want to say something. Allie Brown, 2 interceptions on the day, okay? Emma Nyhill, 3 interceptions on the day. So talking about defensive players of the year. But and I get it because that's what we're guilty of, right? You're talking about interceptions, big plays, stats that usually pop up on the stat sheet, right? You can run that on Sports Center. Macy Fowler from Ravenwood, flag pull, a tackle, 9 consecutive plays. Now, that might not show up in the stats, but I don't know. That might, she keeps tackling like that, what she has been. That's up for Defensive Player of the Year.
No question. No question. And Macy, probably the only young lady in the entire league, has experience playing tackle football.
Right.
She knows what's going on.
Yes, she's done it.
She really does. So she's playing well too. And I love watching the Fairview duo of Hester and Mancini. It's truly a team effort from the coaching staff too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. 2 good coaches, but yeah. And Kaylin Thomas, she's kind of she has no idea who we're talking about, but she's kind of the Gale Sayers of the you know what I'm saying? Just give her the ball and
get out of the way.
But I love that. Isn't that funny? Kind of like you used to say with Glover, hey, coach, we got it. Reese, shoot the ball. You know what I'm saying? Let your players be players, man. Don't overcomplicate this.
Well, one of my favorite coach sayings is from Rick Pitino. I like Rick Pitino.
You're a big Pitino guy.
Respect him as a coach. I think he's the best. He's the best college coach, just period. But he said, in a tight situation, don't draw up a great play. Let a great player make a play.
It's pretty good. Now you got to have a great player.
If you don't have a great player or a great play, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Get the stuff in the plastic bins. Move on to next year. Hey, our final location, Brentwood, Summit, with a 13-6 win over Brentwood. Franklin, a 13-6 win over Summit. And then Franklin and Brentwood, 21-14, the final. Franklin with the win. Coach Webb, Coach Beebe, and the Admirals, 6-0. They control their own destiny. We have a week off for Easter, and then we'll have the final games of the season before our tournament, which will take place at Nissan Stadium. But Franklin's in first.
Yep.
Because they played head-to-head and they both have one loss, Ravenwood's in second, Fairview in third. Same thing with Page Centennial. They're tied, but Centennial lost to Page, so that's 4-5. Summit is 6, and then 7 through 9, Brentwood, Indy, Nolo. They haven't played each other totally head-to-head yet. So a lot can still happen, but it looks like to me that top 4-5 is pretty solid. I think Page Centennial, they're fighting for 4 right now.
Yeah, I do too. But hey, here's what jumps out to me. Franklin's 6-0, okay? Ravenwood scored 26 points, 34 points this week. First week, we all know they scored 88. And Franklin held them to 0. Then you look here. Franklin holds Summit to 6, Brentwood to 14, 20 points. By far, they're playing the best defense. By far. It's not even close. And they're the only undefeated team. Pretty crazy. Everybody was talking about running the ball and passing the ball and all that. And then, I remember at the beginning, hey guys, it's still going to come down to pulling flags. Obviously, Franklin's doing a better job than anybody. And then they have their go-to. Don't overcomplicate it, right? I saw some on Twitter. Charlotte Robertson, 14 receptions, 3 touchdowns. They got down on the goal line. Hey, Coach Flatt used to call it alley-oop, except he can't say alley-oop. He called it alley-oop. Hey, what are we going to do? Throw it as high as we can and let Charlotte out-jump everybody and get it.
She's a great athlete. She really is. And isn't it funny? I think you can say this about Coach Hughes. You can say it about Coach Webb, Coach Hester, probably Coach Kreisky too, in terms of and Coach Rathbone, our guys who are head coaches. Even though the game's different and the rules are different and it's different gender, they sort of coach the same way they did or do for tackle football. Coach Webb, defense. It's defensive-minded. Coach Hester, a little more wide open on offense. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Hester just wants the ball back. Donnie wants to, keep it 13-6.
He loves it. It's great. It really is a lot of fun.
Man, what'd you say, May the 7th? 7th, right?
May the 7th.
That's going to be a great day.
We'll have more information on that next week.
That is going to be a great day.
It's going to be fun. Tate, appreciate you being here as always.
Yes, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.